Look, all of you pray for the victims and their families and a devastated community. I've been receiving updates from my team in the White House that's in close contact with the Justice Department. We're still gathering the facts. Well, already the Justice Department has stated publicly that it is investigating the matter as a hate crime, racially motivated act of white supremacy and violent extremism. As they do, we must all work together to address the hate that remains a stain on the soul of America.
And this was the Mayor of Buffalo, Byron Brown, at a press conference earlier on.
All of us went to church together this morning. The governor, Attorney General James, Congressman Higgins, Senator Kennedy, and I, and we got to see some of the grief that is in this community, some of the raw emotion and pain and anguish that people are feeling.
We'll be keeping a close eye on that developing story now with regard to the mass shooting at the grocery store in Buffalo, New York. Now back to the conversation about Margaret Thatcher and this statue that's gone up in Grantham and already been egged. As predicted, there are polarised views on social media. We've got Nick saying loathe for the way she destroyed the South Wales mining communities without a thought for their futures. We are still living with her cruel legacy. But then we have the alternative view from Huey, who says, my granddad and uncle worked 50 years down a coal mine in Moor Green Colliery, Eastwood, Notts. However, despite that, I voted for Thatcher in 1979 because she had guts, straight talking and knew her own mind. We were lacking that kind of leadership in this country and we could do with it right now. Well, what's your view? Should this statue have gone up in the first place? 0345 6060 973. I thought Caroline Slowcock, actually, who used to work for Thatcher, made a very good point about only 3% of statues in the UK being of women. I mean, purely from a feminist point of view, isn't it right that we immortalise in bronze our first female Prime Minister? Not least when you consider that 97% of all statues are men. That's a very good point, isn't it? Sam's in Canterbury. Sam, what do you think?
Hi, Camilla. I think it shouldn't be a bronze, it should be a gold, because at a time when people were talking about female discrimination, it didn't even occur to Margaret Thatcher that there was such a thing. She knew she was better than any man, and all her opponents knew that as well. And the most natural thing was to make her Prime Minister. So she proved that women who are talented, they can outdo men and achieve anything they wish to achieve. Yeah. So just for that, apart from a myriad of other reasons, yeah, we should have a statue of gold.
I mean, it's a controversial view, that, Sam. Let me just read out Joan's text, who says, I'm incandescent with rage that a statue has been made of that woman. She destroyed communities that still haven't recovered. She destroyed lives and a generation of children. It is disgusting she should get a statue. Scotland hated her more than Johnson. There should be a plaque beside that statue telling people exactly what she did to the people of this country. How do you respond to that, Sam?
I respond to that by saying a lot of working class people have become better off than they were. So you can't win from all sides, yeah? Obviously, there are some people who will have suffered, but on the whole, taken as a whole, he was respected by all the prime ministers and presidents of the world, including Reagan, yeah? And that speaks volumes, and the whole world. And
in 200 yards, at Wagoners Roundabout, take the second exit onto the Parkway, A312.
Should any action be taken against him for criminal damage?
Of course it should.
Really?
Of course it should.
I mean, he's expressing an opinion there, Sam.
Sorry?
He's just expressing an opinion. He's protesting.
Yeah, but he's defaced a public monument. Yes, he can express it, but not deface it.
Okay, thank you for that, Sam. Well, Sam thinks that Margaret Thatcher should be immortalised in gold. What do you think of that? 0345 6060 973. It's a view. Shahid is in Hemel Hempstead. Shahid, what do you think?
Yeah, hi. I've got about 4 or 5 points I'd like to quickly get across.
Rattle through them, Shahid. Goodness me.
Okay. But I'm neither here nor there on statues. I do think personally they go a bit too far because I see them as being commemorated, honoured some people deserve it, some people don't. But the price for statues is that some people are going to deface or damage them. More than 20 years ago, I'm pretty sure, is what I was being shown by the then MP for Hampstead, Tony McWalter. I'm pretty sure it's he who told me that there's a previous statue then that was put up just outside the main chamber of the Commons, and no sooner had it been put up, somebody seriously damaged it. I won't say exactly what, but it was covered in the news.
I know, but Shahid, if we go down that route, you say, oh, well, we won't put a picnic table outside a cafe because somebody might nick it. I mean, you don't stop doing things because there's somebody with a nefarious intent.
It's a fact of reality that some people are going to, just like Churchill statues, roads, that is the price to pay for having these divisive figures. But the point I really want to get...
Exit the roundabout onto the parkway.
I think it's
Continue on the parkway for 1 mile.
Educate people about Thatcher and roads and all these other people about statues. I want to say to them, excuse me, but I was not taught once about Cromwell, his statues outside Parliament. I wasn't taught about Thatcher. I wasn't taught about Churchill. The point I'm trying to get across is that when it comes to controversial figures, I think the British establishment is trying to hide. They're trying to cover it up.
Oh, come on, Shahid. Oh, no, hang on a minute. Just do the wider reading. No, hang on. Cover-ups. There couldn't have been more books written about Thatcher and the 70s and the 80s and indeed the early 90s. I mean, it's been so widely debated. There are endless amounts of resources about her and other figures like Sir Winston Churchill. Unfortunately, what we have is this sort of TikTokization of history. Oh, I'm going to record a couple of minutes of video where I'm going to suggest that Churchill's a racist and Thatcher's a fascist because that's the easiest language that my echo chamber of followers can understand. I'm going to jump on that bandwagon. There's no nuance. It's I'm right and everyone else isn't just wrong. They're a bigot. It's kind of broad brush. I'm taking a position and no one can stop me from doing it. There's plenty of resources out there about Thatcher for people to make.
In a quarter of a mile, at Cranford Parkway interchange, take the second exit onto the M4 slip road to Heathrow Airport, M25.
Some things that she did were good, and some things that she did were bad, and that's where we are with it, Shahid.
Right. I want to say, using the defence, we want to educate people. I'm saying that when it comes to controversial figures, we are not being taught. I went to the biggest school in Hertfordshire at the time. You'll know it well, being a former journalist in my hometown. It was the biggest school, maybe it still is the biggest school in Hertfordshire. It was not on the curriculum. The British Raj, British colonialism, was like, you can be defensive all you like, and make it out that that's my only interest. I would have liked to have been taught about Cromwell. I, as a 30-year plus follower of politics, have still not read on Cromwell. I don't get time to read up about him. But his statue is outside Parliament, so if they want to use that excuse, well, it's important to educate people about these controversial figures, then why aren't we taught about them in school? That's the key point. And just like a branching out point, there's too much hangovers of colonialism hanging around. Northern Ireland is the latest situation. There's lots of people that want to hold on to the remnants of colonialism, and they're finding out bit by bit that most of the people couldn't give a monkey's about, like the bad stuff about colonialism, and they're quite prepared to do away with it. But those that like it can't handle it, and then they get all defensive about it. Oh, why don't you like our controversial parts? It was good. No, it wasn't good. Enslavement was not good. Invading other countries was not good. How can Northern Ireland be a good thing? It's part of Ireland. It should be part of the Republic of Ireland. And all these people are moaning about why isn't Northern Ireland
Shahid,
loved?
I think the point is nobody's defending the indefensible, but there's no point having this kind of like, oh well, the British were responsible. The British had slaves, therefore they're colonial, they're imperialist.
Exit the roundabout onto the slip road.
Rather than saying that actually,
In a quarter of a mile, merge onto
the
M4.
British that led the world out of slavery. All I'm saying is all of these arguments need to be balanced. You can't have an argument which is just Thatcher was terrible, she took milk away from children, she's a disgrace, let's egg her, without also considering that she might have been a good leader during, for instance, the Falklands War. That economically she did help to recover the country from a decade of really quite dire financial straits under Labour.
So if somebody, if I kept a slave for 30, 40 years, and in the end of that 30, 40 years I gave that slave freedom, do you think I deserve to escape prison for that?
No, I'm saying, Shahid, no, I'm saying that if we look at our history, We have to look at it comprehensively. We can't just pick selected
Then I'm fed up with all this defending of colonialism, the conservative.
Not defending colonialism.
Oh, yeah, like, we don't want to hear about
No.
stuff. You know, it's just like Israel today. Like, they're blocking, like, the Nakba situation. The anniversary of Israel becoming created against the wishes of the Palestinians. They won't even allow the Palestinians to wave their flag without beating them up at funerals. And every time you say anything about this, anti-Semitism. You know, this is pathetic. They are trying to highlight bad things.
I think we're trying to...
being the baddest.
Shahid, I think we're trying to get to the same point, which is that all sides of an argument need to be addressed. That we need to look at history in the round. That we shouldn't be revisionist. We should look where things have gone wrong. But we also shouldn't just whitewash the parts out that are inconvenient to our narrative. That's the point here. Yeah, Thatcher wasn't perfect. If somebody wants to ring in on 0345 6060 973, give me a leader that was perfect, that didn't have what Femi Nylander referred to earlier as a controversial past, I'd love to hear who that person is. You know, 5 minutes ago, Jacinta Ardern was sort of Christ reincarnated on Earth until she hermetically sealed New Zealand and allowed pregnant mothers to come back into the country. None of these leaders are perfect. Should the statue stay? Should it be taken down? Was it a good idea in the first place? 0345 6060 973. We're talking about Thatcher, and I'm going to take your calls on it in just a moment. But first, it's 6:30, and here's the news headlines with Tim Humphrey.
Finland has applied to join NATO, with Sweden's ruling party indicating it's likely to do the same. Russia is unhappy with the move, saying it threatens its national security. US President Joe Biden says hate remains a stain on the soul of America after 10 people were killed in a shooting at a supermarket in New York. Police are investigating it as a racially motivated hate crime and believe the suspect began to live stream the attack. Manchester City recover from 2-0 down to draw 2-2 at West Ham, move 4 points clear at the top of the Premier League. Leeds are out of the relegation zone after scoring in injury time to draw 1-1 with Brighton. And the weather, showers merging to give rain in the north tonight, a chance of thunderstorms with hail in southern and western areas, a low of 6.
LBC, Nick Ferrari at breakfast. Weekday mornings from 7.
Minister for Brexit Opportunities and Government Efficiency, Jacob Rees-Mogg. 91,000 civil service jobs to go. We'll go back to levels of staff in 2016. Remind me, Minister, which party was in power in 2016?
The Conservative Party.
So these jobs have all been added on your watch?
There was the COVID pandemic, which led to an increase in staffing and indeed Brexit. Conservative ministers are very keen that the government should be run efficiently and that taxpayers' money should be saved. So I think there will be considerable enthusiasm.
In a quarter of a mile, keep right to stay on M4.
From 7. Listen on your radio and on Global Player. LBC.
YouMove is the UK's #1 clinically proven joint supplement for dogs. Already helping nearly 2 million dogs every year. Try for a month today for just £5.
Keep right to stay on M4.
Future orders. Delivered free, straight to your door. Enjoy a more active dog in just 6 weeks or your money back. Guaranteed. I like the way you move. See youmove.co.uk for verification data, terms and conditions. Subscription auto renews unless cancelled.
Food's here.
Oh, great. Starving.
Right, you lot, come on in. One at a time. That's it. Pile the pieces over there. Careful, Shaz, don't drop them.
Stop.
You next, they'll stack them up.
Stop.
That's it. Pile those pieces.
Stop! What's all this?
The pieces you rang for. Where's the rest of you?
What do you mean?
You said bring enough for 200 people.
Hungry. I said 2 hungry people.
Whoa.
Need a hearing test? Should have gone to Specsavers. Book online today.
Where do you want the garlic bread?
What if positive change was only one design away? With Canva, you can design anything. Whether it's a presentation to share an idea, a video to launch a business, or a social post to start a conversation. Millions of people are using Canva to redesign their own world. Some say design is beyond most people's reach. We say it's already in your hands. So, what will you design today? Start designing for free at canva.com.
I've never been a fan of lilies. I want sunflowers and tulips at my funeral. It might cheer everyone up a bit.
Oh, that sounds like a lovely idea. But we can arrange that for you.
With over 150 years experience, you can count on Co-op Funeral Care to help you pre-plan the send-off you want. To find out more, visit your local Co-op Funeral Care or go to coop.co.uk/personal funerals. Co-op, it's what we do.
Heard about Magpie, the vegan pie truck that needed a bit of help from GoDaddy? One day the owners are like, this business hasn't reached its potential. And the other one goes, we need a bigger piece of the pie. And then it hits us. We need GoDaddy. Look, we can get a domain name and create an online store so we can sell to more customers. Now they've gone from serving a couple of pies to flogging nationwide. And now everyone's like, vegan pies are the new thing round here. Wait, no me. For the help.
In a quarter of a mile, keep right to stay on M4.
On LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
It's just coming up to 35 minutes past 6, and we've got a great example here of revisionist history in the making on text, because somebody has texted to say Thatcher instigated the Falklands War.
Keep right to stay on M4.
What happened, April the 2nd I think it was, is that the Argentinians invaded the Falklands and South Georgia, which are both British overseas territories. So a bit like another country invading Gibraltar, and then as a reaction to that, war was instigated. But it wasn't that she started it. Goodness me. I mean, we can teach the history in schools. Will anyone actually listen to it? Matthew's in Ealing. Matthew.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. With regards to the Falklands War, that I think you're wrong-minded in that.
Why?
Just because obviously she was suffering in the polls at that time. And a war is always a good way of getting.
Well, I don't think she encouraged the Argentinians to invade, because she was not doing well in the polls. What else is a British Prime Minister going to do if somebody invades British overseas territory? I mean, what do we say to President Zelensky? I'll just leave it.
No, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you say, but I mean, the thing is, she was. Presented this opportunity to do a war.
It's interesting. An invasion presents somebody with an opportunity to do a war.
Yes.
That's really interesting, Matthew. What point do you want to make about the statue? I mean, I've not quite heard it put like that before. The invasion of Poland presented them with an opportunity to go to war with Hitler. What?
Well...
No. Matthew, brief word on the statue while I still can.
Okay, no, with regard to the statue, I think it's a foolishness to disregard the history, and
But you're disregarding history.
No, I think it is a foolishness to disregard the history, and with taking down historical figures, even if they have done bad things, they've achieved great things. I think that's silly. And I think a statue should be made for Margaret Thatcher. I didn't agree with her politics. I didn't agree with her following through with the Falklands War, for instance. And that was clearly an electioneering ploy.
Okay, all right, thanks for that, Matthew. I think oh my God. You can politic your reaction to any situation, right? Boris Johnson can politic his reaction to what's happened in Ukraine. But he didn't engineer what happened in Ukraine in the same way that Thatcher didn't engineer the Argentinians invading British overseas territories.
In 2 miles, at junction 6, take the A355 exit to Slough Central.
The Iron Lady that she'd been nicknamed, but she didn't, quote, instigate the Falklands War. Can we just at least get the basic facts of the history right? Sam's in Ash in Kent. Sam.
Hello, Camilla.
Hello.
Thank you for having me on. For me, the question is not whether somebody agrees with Margaret Thatcher's policy or not, or whether you like her or not. I think the simple principle of going around defacing or damaging statues, I think it is self-vandalism and sheer disrespect.
Yes.
Because any statue standing in the United Kingdom, somebody else can point to you some controversy that the individual did in their past. So it doesn't mean you have to destroy all the statues. We can debate about the politics, whether we like her or not. But then I think it's completely unacceptable for people to go around defacing things because they don't like the individual, whether it's Margaret Thatcher, Tony Blair, or anybody else.
Yes.
I don't think it's right.
Thank you. Good point, well made, Sam. Thank you. Michael's in Birmingham. What's your view, Michael?
Hiya. Thank you for having me.
Oh, pleasure.
Right, I might just say that a lot of people seem to be phoning up about the coal mines, basically, the manufacturer closing down these coal mines. There's 2 points I'd like to make about that. Now, I heard somewhere, I'm going back years now, obviously, I don't remember where I heard it on the radio or on TV news or read it in the newspaper. But Gordon Brown and Tony Blair closed down more mines than manufacturer ever did.
Well, we might need to fact check that, Michael. But
Yeah. I really wish I knew where I got that information.
So do I. Maybe the producer can have a look, but carry on.
It's something that I heard that just stuck with me, which surprised me, which is why I brought it up.
Yes. What did you think of that?
In a quarter of a mile, at junction 6, take the A355 exit to Slough Central.
I can remember the 70s, we were in dire straits. So obviously 79, I think it was when she got to power.
Yeah. 3-day week, bins not being collected, economic turmoil.
Yeah, but that was a Labour government then, wasn't it?
Yes, exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Exit at junction 6.
Yeah. Also with the miners, never mind who closed most mines down, the miners closed them down themselves.
In a quarter of a mile, at the roundabout, take the 3rd exit onto Tuns Lane, A355.
Expensive to employ. Now, we believe imported an awful lot of coal from Poland, so they could dig it out of the ground in Poland, ship it over, unload it, export it to the power stations. And we could do that cheaper than digging up out of our own back garden.
Well, I think there are people in the mining community that won't agree with that analysis necessarily.
Well, why else would he close them down if they weren't economic?
Well, also she was trying to make a political point that she could control the unions, that she wasn't going to let the unions, they did under Michael Foot, control Britain, that she was going to take Arthur Scargill and others on directly. She was trying to flex her muscles as the so-called Iron Lady, wasn't she?
Exit the roundabout onto Tuns Lane.
Yeah, well, yes, maybe, but at the end of the day, if it's economic to keep something going, they'll keep it going, wouldn't they?
Yeah, all right, thank you, Michael. Thank you for that. Paul's in Brocken. Paul.
Hi, you alright?
Yes, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, good.
Continue on A355 for 1 mile.
Regardless of what you think about her, she's an amazing woman.
And do you like her or loathe her?
Well, no, I like her. I mean, I'm 48, so I wasn't. I kind of I wasn't there really when she was.
Well, hang on, no, you're a child of Thatcher, really? 48?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were alive for the whole period that she was in office.
Yeah, I don't think that anything she did affected me. I mean, I was down in the south, but.
Well, maybe that's the difference here, Paul. Maybe that's the difference here, that, Southerners did well, Northerners didn't, and, ironically, this statue is in Grantham, and maybe there's a lot of local opposition to that, hence why it's been egged. Maybe that's understandable.
Yeah, no, I do understand. I do understand why people might have their opinions the way they do about her, but the bottom line is she was a strong woman and she achieved a lot in a period where women, had to work harder than men to get where they got to.
Quite right too. Well, look, just on a feminist basis, and that statistic about only 3% of statues being dedicated to women might suggest. Jim in Tenterden has made the point, the danger here is who decides the version of history that sees statues taken down. I don't want them taken down so I can be the one to decide. Jay is in Sloane Square. Jay, what do you think?
Hi, Camilla. Love the program.
Thank you.
I just was telling your screener there that I happened to meet Margaret Thatcher quite by accident one day in '95 when she was signing copies of the first edition of her autobiography. And anyway, she couldn't be more gracious. But about this, I was just walking up Piccadilly, and there was a crowd outside Hatchard's, and I said, "What's going on?" And Bobby said, "Oh, well, Mrs. Thatcher is signing copies of her book." Oh, is the queue long? No, it's not. Would you mind holding this bag for me? No, that would never happen today. But anyway, she was very gracious, and she kind of personally inscribed it, even though that was not the done thing. As to this issue, Yeah, of course, the nice man who egged her statue should at least be made to make it right. And
Yes.
that could either be getting on a ladder and scrubbing it off, or if he can't climb the ladder, if health and safety don't permit him to do that, then he can hire somebody. And if it costs too much, well, you know, those are the consequences of your action. And that's what should happen for all these things. You know, if the statue was put up after public consultation and whatever the pros and cons, it was legally put up, et cetera, then it should not be subject to this kind of vandalism. And, you know, obviously that goes for all the Extinction Rebellion folks who sit down and slow traffic and slow ambulances. I'm a medical doctor, so I would not want an ambulance slowed down because somebody was sitting in the middle of the street where the ambulance needed to get to me. But anyway, those are my thoughts.
Thank you very much for those thoughts, Jay. Very much appreciated. This is interesting. This is a point here that's... the producers come up. Couldn't find anything on Gordon Brown or indeed Tony Blair with regard to closing down mines. More mines were closed during Harold Wilson's 2 terms in office than Thatcher's 3. Keep your calls coming in. Should this statue stand? Should it ever be erected in the first place? 03.
In a quarter of a mile, turn left onto Buckingham Avenue.
And it's 6:45.
Coming up at 7 on LBC, Rachel Johnson.
As an MP says the poor can't cook from scratch, we talk about the cost of living. Are you cutting back on food and everyday essentials?
Rachel Johnson.
Turn left onto Buckingham Avenue.
Today's tale begins when the Smith family sat down to enjoy a film. Suddenly they heard the scariest sound.
The Wi-Fi is down.
The family were doomed to wait for a film that wouldn't load.
Save yourself from broadband nightmares. Get BT's unbreakable hybrid broadband backed up by EE, the UK's best network. Search BT Hybrid Broadband. 88% UK availability. 4G connection takes up to 175 seconds. Best for mobile network performance. Verify at ee.co.uk/claims.
Get up and at it, as my mother used to say. Get moving. Get your skates on.
Continue on Buckingham Avenue for 3/4 of a mile.
Behind the wheel. Get picking up and dropping off. Get busy.
Take the next left in 200.
Get deliveries done and get home to see Mom. Whatever the mission, Enterprise Rent-A-Car helps over 100,000 every day.
I've never been a fan of lilies. I want sunflowers and tulips at my funeral. It might cheer everyone up a bit.
Oh, that sounds like a lovely idea. But we can arrange that for you.
With over 150 years experience, you can count on Co-op Funeral Care to help you pre-plan the send-off you want. To find out more, visit your local Co-op Funeral Care or go to coop.co.uk/personal funerals. Co-op, it's what we do.
It's the BT Spring Sale. Get super-fast fibre for just £26.99 a month and get more of the things you want, like a £20 money-back speed guarantee, a Which Best Buy Smart Hub, and super safe Norton security included. Everything you want your broadband to be for just £26.99 a month. Hurry, ends 18th of May. Why choose anyone else? Join BT today. 24-month contract broadband only. New customers, CPI plus 3.9% increase each March. £31.99 for month 25, terms apply.
Why should you consider dental implants? Here's Susan Tanner from the Darwood and Tanner Dental Practice.
The secret to good-looking teeth on dental implants is in the science and our expertise acquired over many years. Our technology improves the ability to diagnose and provide solutions for even the most complex problems. The result looks and feels amazing.
See the success stories from happy patients and book your consultation today. Visit darwoodandtanner.co.uk.
Collect a 25,000 Avios welcome bonus with the new Barclaycard Avios Plus credit card when you spend £3,000 in your first 3 months. That could whisk you from everyday to getaway. Check your eligibility now.